Hello everyone and welcome to today's instalment of Beyond the Mask. In this episode today we're going to be discussing and theorising about the dark past and childhood of Jill Roberts. Despite being famed as one of the most evil serial killers from the Scream franchise, Jill Roberts has always been a fascinating topic of conversation for myself personally. What would make this seemingly normal girl turn on her own family and friends with the desire of becoming famous? It is my personal belief this stems from the troubled upbringing she had at the hands of her own mother, Kate Roberts. What kind of life did she have? What was the trigger that set Jill off on a murderous rampage? This can be tricky to assess, as with most of Scream's killers, their reasoning, history and backstory tends to be left open to the viewer's own interpretation. I do believe a lot of information can be taken out of the movie's subtext, however, so sit back, chill out and listen as I take you guys through the potentially troubled life of Jill Roberts. To the public and the eye of the viewers, Jill seemed to have a normal life. She and her mother lived in a perfect suburban home. She was surrounded by a very strong friend group. She had all the advantages that any normal person could have. What was behind this though was a dark, cold, jealous and murderous appetite. An appetite that I believe was created within Jill from her own mother's personal envy and jealous nature towards other members of their family, in particular Maureen and Sidney Prescott. Before we take a look at Jill Roberts' past, we need to assess Kate Roberts, or more so, the connection that she had to Maureen Prescott and how Maureen's death likely changed Kate's life. We know very little about Kate and Maureen's relationship, only throwaway lines from Kate herself in conversations in Scream 4. Jill's own jealousy towards Sidney obviously came from somewhere hidden quite deep within. Now contemplate this scenario for a moment. If Kate Roberts was supportive and understanding of her sister and shared no bitter resentment towards her niece, Jill could have potentially grown up in an environment that sympathised with her cousin's trauma. Why would she become jealous with the intention of murdering her cousin if Kate had displayed an understanding, sympathetic attitude towards the Prescotts throughout Jill's childhood? Let's just take a look and analyse Kate's first piece of dialogue spoken on screen. "She must have scars everywhere," remarked Kirby. "Her mother was my sister. I have scars too. No one ever asked me about my scars," replied Kate. It may have been a throwaway line to some, but to me this first piece of dialogue spoken by Kate introduced the character perfectly. "No one ever asked me about my scars" is like something that you'd hear young siblings say when they believe the other sibling is being favoured over them. Kate Roberts envied the press attention that Maureen's death got, and of the fame that followed Sidney around following it. I genuinely feel this envy wasn't as much towards Maureen as it was towards Sidney. If we just take a moment to reword what Kate's saying, it could very easily be the same thing if stated like this. "Maureen was my sister too. No one cares about how I feel. No one bothers to ask. They just ask her." The translation is almost exactly the same in terms of what the character is trying to say, just worded different, but the meaning is very much present. The envy and the jealousy that likely radiates from Kate is more simply to do with how easy she feels Sidney has had her life following Maureen's death. Kate sees herself as a victim too, but Sidney is the only person to have benefited from it in Kate's eyes. In reality, she likely had to get a normal job and lived her life in a basic but normal fashion. Kate was down a dark path that may have resulted in the neglect of her daughter. What evidence is there to suggest that Kate neglected Jill? Was this even translated on screen? In actual fact, the neglect Jill likely suffered at the hands of her mother was quite clear in the movie. An example of Kate's neglectful ways lies in two deleted scenes from Scream 4. With the killer on the loose, her daughter and her friends believing that they were in danger of being attacked next, it's easy to assume Kate would have been alert or somewhat concerned for her daughter's well-being. In actual fact, Kate took several sleeping pills that night, allowing herself to enter an extreme, deep sleep, and thus explaining why she didn't react to Olivia's death in the theatrical version of Scream 4. Adding to this, during one of Kate's second scenes in which she returns to the Roberts house and startles Sydney, there's a brief moment when Sydney acknowledges the fact that Kate had been shopping. Shopping in a situation where your own daughter is being hunted. Her friend was murdered next door, and police are actively guarding the house. Why would you leave your teenage daughter home? Keep in mind, Kate has overall knowledge of the family history and its tendency to attract sinister psychopaths. Sydney's reaction is often perceived as curiosity when Kate announces that she's been shopping, but from my perspective, I believe Sydney was surprised that Kate had left Jill alone. So if Jill was growing up in this neglectful environment, how did this impact her? This seems like an irrelevant question to some, as we do know how this story ends. Jill detached from her family. If you take a closer look at Scream 4, Jill's relationship with her mother is almost muted throughout. The pair share one scene together. The more interesting take from Jill's behaviour is also during the climax when she told Sydney her master plan. I mean, my own mother had to die just to stay true to the original. That's sick, right? Well, sick is the new sane. Jill disregarded her mother. She wanted fame. There was a particular emphasis on Jill's line about her being expected to get a job like everybody else. It's not a stretch to imagine this kind of thinking was passed on. Jill believed she was owed fame, the same way that Kate believed that she was entitled to benefit from her sister's murder, the same way Sydney had. The finalised piece of evidence from this theory also stems from Kate Roberts' final words. Tell Jill I'm sorry. This could mean a number of things. Sorry for her not being able to protect her. Sorry for something else entirely. It's open to interpretation, but with the context stated in this video in mind, it's my personal belief that Kate Roberts was apologising for the years of neglect, for the jealous environment that Jill had grown up in. And that's it for this video. I hope I've been able to provide some extra context to Kate and Jill's relationship and explain in detail why Jill became a killer and how her mother impacted the events of Scream 4. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Until next time, I don't know about you, but I certainly feel a lot better.